Well, hello and welcome to the very first episode of Capital Culture. Now, we're going to be talking about lots of aspects of London life over the next few episodes, but what better place to start than with something we all love to talk about, certainly if social media is anything to go by, and that is food. And I'm lucky to be joined by three brilliant guests. So I have with me the double Michelin-starred chef, Michel Roux Jr, who does, of course, run Le Gavroche restaurant in Mayfair. We've got Clare, founder of the Little London vegan blog, and we've got Leyli H, founder of Leyli and June, a very successful supper club company. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me. I want to start off by talking really about our eating habits and sort of how they've changed. So, Michel, you've run Le Gavroche for nearly 30 years now.
That's right. Yeah.
Are people still eating out in restaurants as much as ever? As much as ever, do you think?
I think so. Yes, I think it's part of culture now, and you know we describe London as a gastronomic capital of the world, which I think it is. It has become that, and people actually flying from all over the world to London, not to see Windsor or Buckingham Palace or to see a show, because they do that as well, but actually to dine out. And I think that's so exciting.
But are they still eating out in restaurants, do you think? Because obviously, Leyli, you've worked in Michelin star kitchens. You now get people to eat out in a very different way. Tell me about your supper clubs.
It's a lot about the experience as well as the food. So we like to create something really unique. So we'll choose a space that is completely bare and empty, and we move in as a team and take it over just for the night. So what people are buying into is not just the menu that they're going to try, which could be, it's usually from Middle Eastern kind of background, the cuisine that we put on, but it's also about the experience, where they're eating, and it's a much more social environment as well.
Why do you think they've become so popular over the last few years?
It's a lot to do with, I'd say, the influence from social media. I think that has had a huge effect on it. People want something that is unique. It's a unique experience, and it might not be there tomorrow. So I think that posting on social media, and you must find that with your blogging, I'd say that has had a huge effect on it. Yeah.
Michel, have you ever eaten at a supper club?
I'm thinking, no, I don't think I have, actually. I'm waiting for the invite.
There you go.
I've got one next week.
There you go.
That's on a really important point, and that is, I think people are now, or customers are now looking for an experience, not just food. Food can be fantastic, can be wonderful, the best food you've ever tasted, but people want an experience, and I think that's from the high street chain restaurant all the way up to the Michelin-starred restaurants.
Yes.
People are looking for a unique experience or something that they can remember forever.
And how do you sort of address that when you're thinking about what to do in your restaurant?
Yeah, well, I mean, our restaurant has got the history, so that in itself is an experience, because and of course it's very expensive. So you might only go there once in your lifetime, so it has to be memorable. But I'm there most days, so I meet and greet my customers, which is that's an experience in itself. And then of course it is such a comfortable, indulgent place, and we train our staff to be able to communicate properly with the customers and to just make sure that it is just so memorable.
Yeah. Now, Claire, I'm thinking as a vegan, you're probably having an easier time eating out in London than you've ever had. Right?
Definitely,
Is that right?
yes, absolutely. I mean, I myself have only been vegan for a year, but I know a lot of people who have been vegan for longer than that. And I can only imagine how much easier life has gotten for them. I mean, I went to a restaurant called Meat Mission the other day to taste their vegan menu. That's crazy. Like that never would have happened 3, 4, 5 years ago. And the choice now is just almost overwhelming. And people are doing one thing and then going on to the next. Again, people are craving unique experiences.
Yeah.
So people don't want to just go to one restaurant with vegan options. They want to know about every single one, and they want to experience every single one, which is great.
Interesting what you were just saying there about Meat Mission. I spotted the other day an advert KFC have just released for their latest bacon burger, telling people to eat it before they turn vegan. I mean, that's a real sign of the times, isn't it?
It is, It's a little bit naughty, It's a strange move for a company that are trying to, apparently in the works, creating a vegan chicken recipe, but clever marketing,
Why do you think it's become so popular in the last few years? Why this boom?
I think people are a lot more aware of what they're putting into their bodies now. Not only that, I think they're very aware of their impact on the environment and how their behaviour is contributing in quite a big way to our planet. I think a lot of people go vegan for environmental reasons, but also I think animal welfare is being highlighted in a way that it never has been before with industrial farming on such a big scale. I mean, almost an unmanageable scale, and we are just increasing as a population, and people are just now realizing that we have to do something. That's certainly where, you know, my transition to veganism has come from, and I think a lot of other people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Michel, I mean, French cuisine, I suppose, traditionally is quite meaty fare.
Yeah.
Have you wanted or had to adapt your menu at all, or have you considered doing that to sort of appeal to a bigger vegan vegetarian audience over the last few years?
No, I mean, to be honest, we don't cater, I don't say not cater, no, we don't have a vegan menu. We do have a vegetarian tasting menu, which we find actually more and more people are taking on or ordering, which is interesting, which does show a trend towards that. But I've always been an advocate of, you know, that we don't have to eat animal protein every day of the week. And it seems to be a very British psyche as well, that you have to have, you know, you have the bacon butty followed by maybe a grab and go, and the sandwich will be chicken or tuna, or and then in the evening, if you're in a rush, then maybe you'll grab a ready meal, and that'll be animal protein as well. And very often it's not particularly good animal protein. It's intensive rearing and it's not good. But personally, myself, I don't eat animal protein every day of the week. I can go quite happily without it. But I do like quality.
Yes.
That is the difference. You know, once a week, then I will have the most beautiful steak, and it will be from a farm that I know, and it will come, and I know that animal has been reared properly, and you know, all of that, it ticks all the boxes. And same with chicken. How can you go to a supermarket and buy a chicken for, you know, £1.50 or under £2? What kind of a life has that chicken had?
Yeah.
You know, you have to ask those questions. So, you know, I think that you raised some really important points. Without going that full, you know, vegan myself or vegetarian, I really do understand where this trend is coming from.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, you talking about sort of not needing to eat meat every day of the week, but you presumably wouldn't be eating a meat substitute when you weren't eating meat, you'd be eating natural foods. Because one of the things I've noticed about the vegan sort of craze, which I think we can call it probably, is that a lot of it is emulating meat. It's vegan burgers, pulled jackfruit, you know, vegan hot dogs. And I'm wondering how healthy that is actually, because, you know, it's perhaps it's healthier than some fast food, but is it that healthy?
I think it's a very valid point. I think, for me, I have relied a lot on vegan meat to transition from a meat eater to a vegan, and that has made that easier for me. But there is this niggling question in the back of my mind, you know, like you said, how healthy is that? This is still very new to us, and I think there are going to be some changes that we need to make in order to make this a sustainable way of living. And I don't think you obviously can't just live off of these substitutes. It
was
needs
almost like
to
sort
be
of late night, you know, something you'd have on the way home from the pub.
Yes, totally. And
it's tasty.
It is tasty.
Well, I don't know. I tasted some vegan cheese the other day, and it was awful.
I need to get you on the Beyond Meat burgers. That's what I need to do.
Okay, well, yeah, I'll have a go. I'll taste it. You know.
So what's your go-to then? You know, you've been out, you've had a few drinks, it's late at night, you're on the way home. What's your guilty pleasure?
Well, I'd probably have real cheese. I mean, a nice slab of, you know, Comté or mature cheddar, and, you know, homemade bread. My wife makes the most amazing bread, and, you know, that's it. That's my go-to.
Okay, late at night on the way home. That's your, fair enough. Cheese is a good one. Yeah.
I love cheese.
Yeah.
But, you know, I am kind of French, so cheese is very important to me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Leyli, how much of what you do, because obviously you cater for weddings and parties and obviously do your supper clubs, how much of a demand is there for exclusively vegan events?
There's a huge demand, actually. I'll be catering for a vegetarian wedding next month, so entirely vegetarian. Okay. And I enjoy it because you get to be really creative with it. What we like to do with our supper clubs, we use our supper clubs to help promote our catering company. So it's a way of people being able to sample our dishes before they would like to use our services on a much larger scale. It's a lot easier because of my cultural background being Persian. It's a lot easier to adapt dishes to make sure that they're really tasty and full of flavour. But I like to keep things in their natural state, nice and kind of healthy. So, for example, part of our Persian barbecue offering, we do a pop-up. I have a vegan dish, so I've developed a celeriac shawarma, and we cook it exactly like you would cook chicken shawarma. Wow. So heavily spiced, lots of garlic, lots of onions, and we put it on a rotisserie, on a spit grill, over a barbecue.
So you've really sort of adapted maybe traditional ways of cooking things, and you've made it vegan.
Yes. Yeah. And that's been incredibly popular. It's probably one of my most popular dishes.
And just thinking.
It sounds so good.
Amazing, doesn't it?
Because we like to make sure that everyone is catered for and everyone feels welcome, especially with the supper clubs. Yeah. It's a way of educating people as well into eating these kind of foods and not being put off by it or think, oh, I'm lacking something, I'm missing something. Yeah. It's making people interested in it.
And do you guys think, I suppose, Michelle, again, come back to the fact that you've been sort of doing this for 30 years. Do you think that this veganism thing is here to stay, or do you think it's a fad that will sort of pass on?
No, I mean, if you look back sort of 15 years, the same question was being asked about vegetarianism, and look at it now. Yeah. So no, I think it's here to stay, and for the very points that you're championing, I think it's very, very important. I don't think that everybody will end up being vegan or vegetarian, but I do sincerely hope that everybody will think twice each time they do buy animal protein or meat, and actually be curious of finding out where it's come from and question it. And I think the more people question, then that raises the bar on rearing animals and makes people think, and makes the growers think, and not just the growers, the farmers think as well.
Yeah.
And to treasure a life, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Well, as you say, sustainability is a huge part of it, and sustainability obviously isn't just about whether or not you eat meat. I'm thinking particularly you guys both sort of running a restaurant and running a catering company. Is that something you're finding yourself thinking about more and more?
Yes.
Yeah.
The public want that as well. So when we
thinking about
promote it
and what you use and that sort of thing. Yeah.
There's no way that I would use plastics in my offerings, for example. We're quite a new company, so starting off with this, it's a new belief or a new trend, but it's great for the environment. So we definitely promote that. But it's what the public want, so we try and we cater for that. Yeah. But sustainability and seasonality and locally sourced produce as well. We really try to push.
I think
that's got a good handle.
It's so important as well, seasonality, because you're getting at its best, the produce at its best.
Yeah.
But I find that the customers are more and more interested in knowing where the food comes from.
Yeah.
Yep.
And to be able to, all the staff being able to trained and being able to confidently say, okay, that beef comes from the farmer in the Lake District. And we recently took some of the chefs up there to the farmer and to see it at the animal welfare, to see it in the farm, out in the field, and to actually see it all the way through to the abattoir. So it's a whole story, and to see how that animal was treated, and it's so important, because then they have got that genuine story, and they can tell with confidence where the animal comes from. And customers are now being, I think, more and more awake to this, which is good, a good thing.
Yeah. I think we've become a bit disconnected from our food, not just obviously, as a meat eater, where your meat comes from, but I think it's the fake meat thing again. It's we need to go back. I mean, veganism isn't a new thing.
No.
Vegan dishes have been, there's cuisines which have been doing vegan food naturally for centuries. Yeah. Ethiopian food, for example, is some of the best dishes I've ever had, and that's naturally vegan. So I think it's taking responsibility for knowing where your food comes from and what's good for you as well. So.
Yeah, and perhaps actually it's interesting. I was just thinking the rise of veganism has very much played out on social media, which perhaps isn't particularly helpful in really educating people about what something is and where it's come from. Sure. How much do you think social media influences what we're eating these days?
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
Massively. I think from every aspect, people go to restaurants based on what they look like because they've seen it on Instagram or what a dish looks like. So there's a lot more emphasis on presentation now as well. It's not just what you're eating. It's, I hate to say this, but it's the way it looks for an Instagram picture, which, you know, it's sad in a way, but also, yeah, it's very true and very real. And definitely social media is having a huge impact on what we eat.
Yeah. This is how I started my supper clubs. It's because of social media.
Yeah.
So I was my past career was as a food developer. So I didn't have my own restaurant for people to come and try my foods. I'd be testing dishes, coming up with new recipes, and for fun, posting it on social media. And that's where the interest grew. People were messaging saying, "Where can I try this?" So that's how it came about. So I definitely owe it to social media.
I was going to say, you couldn't really do it without social media.
No, exactly. I can't imagine having a food business without that. It's a free marketing tool.
Yeah.
It's amazing the power it has or it generates.
Yeah, I mean, Michelle, obviously you can imagine having a food business without, or a restaurant without social media because you've done that.
Especially my dad and my uncle.
Yeah.
You know, 1967. God, I mean, there was nothing like that. Not even mobile phones.
They created the London food scene. I think your family has basically dictated or created the restaurant scene.
Well, I mean, okay,
didn't really exist.
They were pioneers, definitely.
Definite pioneers.
Most definitely pioneers.
did it without Instagram.
Without Instagram. There you go.
But having said that, does it sort of factor into your business plan now, or not your business plan? Is it something you think about? You know.
Well, I mean,
Gavroche?
yeah, my restaurant Le Gavroche has an Instagram account which is run by one of my chefs.
Yeah.
I do a bit of Twitter. You know, it is important. I must say, I think we were one of the first restaurants to have a website, and that's going back a bit. Yeah, I mean, it's not a grand website, it's not a great website, but it's still there, and we still update it, and we still, you know, do a little bit of work on it every now and then. But it is vital now. It definitely is. I think in any business, but maybe even more so in the food business.
Well, it is cutthroat, isn't it? I was going to say, even for a restaurant with your kind of legacy and reputation, do you feel you have to do that to sort of stay relevant in a way?
I think so, most definitely. And I don't mind people taking pictures in the restaurant.
I was going to say, you must see that all the time.
Not at all. As long as they don't get the lights out and start flashing badly. But no, I don't mind at all. Sometimes the pictures aren't great that they post, but you know what?
Yeah.
That's why they need the lights.
Don't you start coming to my restaurant with the lights, please.
You know what though?
Do you have the kit?
I'm so embarrassed to admit this, but
Do you?
I do, but I get really embarrassed when I do it. But I have been to restaurants before where they've invited me to come along to try the food, and it's been pitch black. And I think if I didn't have that light, I've been asked to do a service, to provide a service, and if I can't provide that, I don't know what I do, but I do take your point. I know, that's it, invite gone.
Well, our lights are really, really dim low.
I have to come in the daytime.
Yeah, but it's great for the restaurants as well because it's marketing for them. So it works both ways.
Yeah. Do you guys think there is a danger that people are getting the wrong information through social media, though? So there was a study out recently, I think it was just a couple of weeks ago, that found, and this is quite shocking, that only 1 in 9 food bloggers was actually providing accurate and trustworthy information.
Wow.
This is when it comes, I think, to sort of dietary and nutritional advice. Does that shock you?
It upsets me, but it doesn't shock me. I think I get a lot of messages during the week asking for nutritional advice simply because I've developed a following on my page, but I have absolutely no qualifications. I'm very upfront and honest about telling people that. And it worries me that people are turning to people like me for information about that kind of stuff. So yes, upsets me, but does not surprise me at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Michelle?
That's mad. I can't understand how that, it's fake news, isn't it?
Fake news, yeah.
Well, that's exactly it. I suppose they're not professionals. They're not, people can say what they want on social media, basically.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? That is the flip side of the coin, that you can post anything you want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can be very detrimental to restaurants as well. A bad review can have a huge effect on sales. So it can be very damaging, as well as it can be very good.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about this earlier, and you were saying it's almost like a second part of the job for you. You do all the catering,
hugely.
and then you have to spend a lot of time actually thinking about the
massively.
the social media
that has to be
postings.
factored in.
Yeah.
the time of day that you post something, and just how you market it yourself. And to be honest, if you don't post anything, it's almost like the event never happened. So you have to have it recorded in some way.
Yeah.
It creates quite a lot of pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For you to always be there and be present and be documenting everything that's happening.
Yeah.
It's quite intense. Yeah.
Yes.
Right, I'm going to ask you one final question, guys. Just, I want you to think about if you could sum up London's food scene in one word in 2019, what would it be? I know I've sprung this on you now.
Oh wow, it's
Claire looks like she's ready.
I'm thinking
vibrant.
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 diverse.
Diverse.
Eclectic.
Eclectic. Well, there you go. And that really was sprung on them. You know, we didn't rehearse for that. Right, that is just about all we've got time for. So thank you so much, guys, for joining
Thank
me.
you.
Michel,
Thank you.
Claire and Leyli. We'll be back next month with an episode about London's commuter culture. So please do get in touch if you've got any ideas or thoughts or questions or ideas for future programmes. We'd love to hear from you. Get in touch, messages on Twitter or Facebook. But that's it from me and my guests. That's bye-bye.